Good morning, class. This is your math lesson. So we've been talking about graphing. We've gone over some vocabulary words. We've looked at pictograph or picture graphs, and we've looked at bar graphs. I made a quick picture graph this morning. This is favorite sport. You always look at the title. This is the favorite sport. I have the numbers on this side, which is the number of votes. Soccer, football, basketball, and baseball. So you can look at the data. Okay, so if I asked you the question, how many people like soccer, what would you say? Yeah, 4. You just look at the pictures, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I said how many people liked soccer and football together, the word and tells you to add. So you would add your soccer and football. 4 plus 3 is 7. Good. What is the least favorite sport using this data? Yep, baseball, because baseball only had 1 vote. And which was the most popular sport? Yes, basketball, because basketball had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it was the highest one. Okay, so this was a picture graph. So I'm going to pretend like I'm standing in front of the class, and I'm going to take a survey. Remember, a survey is when you ask a question over and over again. Remember, I told you I always teach this, and we do this with the older kids. We get a survey, we go down to the lunches for the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade, and we ask a question. So let's pretend like we're standing in my class, and I would say the survey is favorite genre of book. So we have biography, fantasy, realistic fiction, and nonfiction. So let's say Amari said, Miss Fraser, I love realistic fiction because he loves learning about, he loves reading stories that can happen. Naziah, I know she loves fantasy. She loves reading all of our, the 3 Little Pig books. Jonah is a big biography reader. He likes to learn about what people have done. Eric, I've seen read realistic fiction. Arion is a big nonfiction. He likes to learn about different things, and so is his sister. So Arion and Anaya I gave to nonfiction. Camden is fantasy. He loves reading the Magic Treehouse books. He has read those all year long, and those are fantasy because the treehouse spins and goes to a different era of time. That's awesome that he reads those. Sean is a big nonfiction. He likes to know how things work. Sean is very kinesthetic. He likes to figure things out. He likes to learn things. So nonfiction books would teach him things. Mason is a biography reader. He likes to learn about people, famous people, and what they've done. Antoine, I'm going to go for nonfiction. He also loves to read about how things work. He likes to learn what things are made of, or real life things. Jakai is another nonfiction guy. So notice how I crossed it over. So now we have a group of 5. These are tally marks. Laquan is another nonfiction reader. He loves that. Tyshawn is a big biography reader. He wants to know about real people. Cardi always loved to read fantasy in my classroom. Zasana also loves to read fantasy. And then we will say that Spencer is another nonfiction. And Mrs. Fraser's favorite to read is realistic fiction. Okay, so I'm going to take my tally marks, and this is the survey that I just took, my tally marks, and I'm going to create a bar graph. So here's my paper, or my board. It says favorite genre of book to read, and it has biography, fantasy, realistic fiction, and nonfiction. So I'm going to do biography first. Biography has 3. So under biography, I'm going to draw a bar up to 3. So that is a bar graph. So remember earlier I showed a picture graph. This is now a bar graph. And bar graphs are pretty easy to identify because they just make bars. Fantasy, my survey said there are 4 fantasies. So I'm going to go up to 4 and then kind of draw a line down. So it's a little bit higher than our biography. biographies. So biography had 3, fantasy had 4. Realistic fiction, the next one, had 3 votes. So realistic fiction again had 3 votes right there. And then our nonfiction friends had the most. So our nonfiction had 7. So we go up to 7, and there it is. Okay, so we asked a question, took a survey, we used tally marks to find our answers, and we used that data to create a bar graph. And then from here we can ask questions. What's the most popular genre of book? And of course you would say nonfiction. What's the least popular genre of books? And the smallest bar is 3, and you would say realistic fiction. Oh, I'm sorry, nope. Realistic fiction and biography had the same, excuse me. So realistic fiction and biography would be the least favorite. How many people liked biography and fantasy? So you would add 3 plus 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. And let's see how many kids voted in all. So this would be 7 plus 3, that makes 10. Plus 4 is 14, plus 3 more is 17. So 17 votes altogether. So using a graph, you can figure out answers to questions. You can ask any kind of question from this. Okay? So we have had a picture graph. We just did a quick bar graph. So let's go over our homework from last night. I left you with, we were reading and learning information about picture graphs. And I think this is one of the easier things that I have to teach. So this goes pretty quick. So we did page 543 together. So if you can get your work out, pause this please and get your work out. And let's turn to 544. All right, so the question says, use the data from the graph to answer the questions. This is favorite pizza topping. You have pepperoni, sausage, cheese, and vegetables. And this is a pictograph. Remember we talked about the vocabulary word key. In this case, each picture equals 1 vote. When you get to like 3rd or 4th grade, your key may say each picture equals 5 votes. So you would count by 5s. But in 2nd grade, they usually just do 1. So pepperoni had how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sausage had 1, 2. Cheese had 1, 2, 3, 4. Veggie had 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3 more people were surveyed. They all like cheese. What topping is now the favorite? So if we added 3 more to cheese, 1, 2, 3, what's now the most favorite? And it would be cheese, because cheese beat out pepperoni. Number 11, Carter voted for cheese, Kylie voted for vegetables. Whose favorite pizza topping got more votes? So Kylie voted for cheese, and then she voted for veggies. So which topping is the most popular? And if we added Kylie's in, it would be cheese again. Okay. And then when I teach this in class, we talk a lot about writing questions about this. So write a question about the graph above, have a friend answer the question. So I think I'm going to write down how many students were surveyed in all. So you can write down anything. You could say how many pepperoni and sausage together. You could say how many pepperoni and cheese together. You could say how many more pepperoni than sausage. Remember that, how many more? You subtract. So make sure your question makes sense. Okay, so let's go to the homework page and go over it. Okay, so again we're analyzing pictographs, and I think this is pretty straightforward. You can use data from the picture graph to answer the questions. So this is favorite vacation, And they had 3 people like the beach, 2 people like camping, 4 people like water park. And then again, your key says each picture equals 1 vote. So there's 1, 2, 3 beaches, 1, 2 camping. Okay, which vacation got the most votes? Well, that's pretty easy. It's the water park. It had the most votes. So go down to our next one. And it says again, favorite hamburger topping. That's the title. Each picture equals 1 vote. So you had ketchup, mustard, lettuce, and tomato. How many people voted in all? Well, pretty easy. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you just count it. Because each picture equals 1 vote, just count them up by ones. Which topping got the most votes? Well, again, pretty easy. Yep, ketchup. Ketchup. Which 2 toppings got the least votes? Well, the least means the smallest, so that would be lettuce and tomato. And how many people like ketchup or tomato? So ketchup had 5 and tomato had 1. I'm sorry, ketchup had 4 and tomato had 1. So 4 plus 1 is 5. All right, and use the data from the graph to answer the questions. So this is favorite sandwich. Peanut butter and jelly had 3, turkey had 2, grilled cheese had 3, and peanut butter had 4. Each sandwich equals 1 vote. How many people voted for turkey or grilled cheese? So turkey or grilled cheese would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maria voted for peanut butter. She really wanted to vote for peanut butter. I'm sorry. Maria voted for peanut butter. She really wanted to vote. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys. That's peanut butter and jelly. That's just peanut butter. How would that change the graph? So she voted for peanut butter. So if we take this off and add it to here, how would that change the pictograph? Well, peanut butter and jelly would now have the most compared to all the rest. And I'm not going to write that down because of time. And the last one, in the graph above, how many more people liked grilled cheese than turkey? Remember, how many more? That is subtraction. So how many more people like grilled cheese than turkey? So that would be 3 grilled cheese, take away 2 turkeys equals 1. Okay, so your assignment, and I'm going to dojo parents too, is I want you to do this page, 547 and 548. And I would like for you to do it independently if possible. And I want your parents to take a picture of it and send it through Dojo. Okay? All right. And I'm also going to send a question to your parents. And we're going to create a graph on Tuesday with all of our family's data. So I'll think of a question like favorite ice cream or favorite color. But I'll send that through Dojo. And then we're going to create a large graph using all the data from all of our families. All right, boys and girls. I miss you. Bye.